This video is about a law that was supposed to keep India's history exactly where it belongs. In the past, the Places of Worship Act 1991. It's a law which was supposed to freeze time and ask people to chill, to not burn things down angrily. But 3 decades after this law was passed, we have some instigators still trying to douse petrol over everything and set it on fire. This is a video about how this Places of Worship Act is now being creatively interpreted to bring history to the present. Mosques are being surveyed, temples are being claimed, and the courts are playing a weird balancing act between ensuring justice and setting things on fire. On that, I have a bunch of thoughts. Our story begins in 1991. Around that time, claims were being made that a bunch of Hindu temples had been converted into mosques over centuries, with accusations stretching all the way back to the year 1500. The Hindutva narrative was clear. Mughal rulers came into India, destroyed Hindu temples, and it was time to set things right. This rhetoric wasn't just talk. It was leading to rising communal tensions, riots, and some truly bad blood. India was teetering on the edge of chaos. I mean, if every other place of worship was going to be claimed and converted to another religion, according to what it was 1,000 years ago, that would lead to absolute chaos and it would upset a lot of people. So, to prevent this chaos, in 1991, the Congress government decided to pass a law called the Places of Worship Act. Its message was simple.
गाइस चल वो फावड़ा खोदना बंद कर फावड़ा बाजू में रख लेट हिस्ट्री बी इन द पास्ट लेट द पास्ट बी इन द पास्ट फोकस ऑन द प्रेजेंट एंड द फ्यूचर नो हियर टेक अ कंप्यूटर एंड गो लर्न अ प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज चल जा खोदना बंद कर बे.
The Places of Worship Act froze the religious character of all places of worship as they stood on August 15th, 1947, India's Independence Day. Here is what the act says. Section 3 says that no person will convert a place of worship from one religion to another. Section 4 says that the religious character of places of worship as of August 15th, 1947 must remain unchanged. In simple words, if there is a temple, mosque, gurudwara, church or monastery which was a temple, mosque, gurudwara, church or monastery on 15th August 1947, that it cannot be converted into a structure of another religion. So time was frozen for all religious structures around the country by this law, with one exception: the Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid dispute in Ayodhya. That was a pending matter in the Supreme Court, so it was kept out of this law. It was basically a इस केस में तुम्हारा देख लो. Yeah, that type of scenario. Cut to December 6, 1992. The Babri Masjid in Ayodhya was brought down by a violent mob claiming the land belonged to Lord Ram. The demolition triggered riots across the country, leaving over 2,000 people dead. It was a catastrophic incident which showed the country that the skeletons of the past can be dug out to piss people off enough to cause mayhem and destruction and death. The Ram Janmabhoomi movement was used by the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, to become more mainstream in national politics. What happened in Ayodhya was worrying and not great.
Hello and welcome to Eyewitness. Only rarely in our lives do we witness an event that you can safely say will change the history of our nation. But what happened in Ayodhya on December 6th is surely such a development.
And all of this happened after the POW Act was passed in 1991. The demolition happened in 1992. The Ayodhya case was pending in the Supreme Court for 27 long years until November 2019, when a verdict was delivered. A 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court decided that the disputed Babri Masjid land would be handed over to a Hindu temple trust that would build a Ram temple on that land. A separate piece of land would be given to the Muslim party where they can build their own mosque, a grand mosque if they want. In January 2024, this this year, the consecration ceremony was held for the Grand Ram Temple in Ayodhya by Prime Minister Shri Sir Supreme Leader Narendra Modi ji, the one and only. Then he declared himself as a non-biological creature. His party lost the Ayodhya seat during the Lok Sabha elections, and end of story. I mean, that is where the story should have ended. But it didn't. I mean, think about it. The only singular exception to the POW Act, which was the Ayodhya dispute, was finally settled. I mean, the mosque came down, 27 years passed, judgment bhi aa gaya, legal backing mil gaya, temple ban gaya, Modi ji ne credit le liya, aur elections bhi har gaye. After the temple was built, Ram Bhakts and Hindus generally rejoiced because a great injustice was righted. Thank you, Supreme Court. But ab ho gaya na? Khatam story. Can we just freeze other religious buildings and their character, please? Now, please. But no, this is India, and in India, we just can't let go. Okay, look at the section of the act I mentioned earlier, which is section 4. It says the religious character of a place of worship existing on the 15th day of August 1947 shall continue to be the same as it is. But then, a wise judge called Justice Chandrachud came along and asked,
What is this religious character even? I mean, what do these words even mean? Surely there is some room to play around here, some room for interpretation, right? Right?
which means it was time to... Alright, let's come to 2022. The Supreme Court was dealing with multiple title cases involving religious structures, primarily in Mathura and Varanasi. The Chief Justice of India back then, U. Lalit, asked the government to clear its stand on these matters. 2 years ho gaye usko, 2 years have passed and the government still hasn't done that, but that's beside the point. When all of this was happening, there was an incident that happened during those hearings. A bench led by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud was hearing the Gyan Vapi dispute case, and he said something strange. He said that even though converting a religious place of worship is banned, but the ascertainment of a religious character of a place as a processual instrument may not necessarily fall foul of the provisions of section 3 and 4 of the Act. In other words, he was saying,
Arey, listen. So you can't convert a structure now. That's illegal under the POW Act. But there is no harm in finding out what was the religious character of that place like 1,000 years ago. Ye lo fauda. Shuru ho jao. Dig, boy, dig.
there it is, the can of worms, the Pandora's box, the loophole, if you will. By making this tiny observation in court, a lot of people seem to have gotten some wild ideas. Chandrachud ended up hitting play on the History Channel once again. People who wanted to scratch this 500-year-old itch saw this opportunity and started filing cases in courts, asking for surveys to be done for different mosques. I mean, why wait for the government or the courts or anybody else to decide on these cases? Yeah, I mean, let's just find out religious character of a place, stoke some tensions and start a riot while we are at it, because that's fun. And that, my friends, is precisely what happened in Sambhal. Yes, this video is also about Sambhal. Did I forget to mention that till now? It is about Sambhal. A group of petitioners claimed that the Shahi Jama Masjid in Chandosi town was built on top of a Hindu temple, and a survey must be done to find out. A petition was filed on November 19th before a civil judge named Aditya Singh, and within hours Singh appointed an advocate commissioner and asked him to carry out an initial survey on the same day. A total of 8 petitioners have filed such cases in the Sambhal court. The claim is that there is a temple of Kalki under the Jama Masjid. Okay, wait. To give you the full effect of how ridiculous this whole thing is getting, let me read out a section from the petition. The plea claims that there is a centuries-old Sri Harihar temple dedicated to Lord Kalki in the heart of the city of Sambhal, which is being used forcibly and unlawfully by the Jama Masjid committee. The petition says, Sambhal is a historical city and holds unique significance deeply rooted in Hindu Shastras, according to which it is a sacred site where an incarnation incarnation of Lord Vishnu, known as Kalki, manifest in the future, a divine figure yet to make an appearance. Kalki is believed to be the 10th and last incarnation of Lord Vishnu, destined to arrive in Kali Yuga. His descent is believed to herald the end of dark and tumultuous Kali Yuga, ushering in the next age, known as Satyug. This is basically mentioned as historical facts. Hindu scriptures confirm that in ancient times, a unique Vigraha consisting of Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva emerged. Due to this reason, it is called Sri Harihar Temple. It says that Sri Harihar Temple of Sambhal was made by Lord Vishwakarma himself in the beginning of the universe. It further says that Babur invaded India in 1526 AD, destroyed a number of Hindu temples to show the might of Islam, to make Hindus feel that they are subject of Islamic ruler. Yeah, looks like they want to go back to the beginning of the universe. I mean,
How dare Babur destroy a building that was built when the universe was formed? How dare he? How dare he? Babur.
so the court ordered a survey to be done based on this, and what followed was violence. On November 24th, protesters gathered near the mosque and clashed with security personnel, leading to stone pelting and firing. 4 people died and several others were injured in the clashes. The Supreme Court stepped in and ordered the Sambhal trial court to stop the survey process. So, this is over too, right? No. Because in Rajasthan, people want to dig below the Ajmer Sharif Dargah. This is a 13th century Dargah of Sufi saints Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti. Civil Court Judge Manmohan Chandel has issued notices to the Dargah Committee, Ministry of Minority Affairs and Archaeological Survey of India. The petitioner wants the Dargah to be declared as a temple and allow Hindus to worship there, because what is it now? Ek second. What was under there? Kuch to hoga na niche? Yeah. Shiva temple. Shiva temple. Is there a Shiva temple under the Ajmer Dargah? They ask. They want a survey done there too. I'm just going to dish it to you straight up that this is not going to stop. I can already see how this whole shit show can be used to incite passions, make people angry, divide and rule. Now, you must be someone who would be like,
Oh, but what is the problem in finding out what is under a religious building? I mean, it's just a survey, right? I mean, it is an academic exercise, an archaeological exercise to satisfy curiosity, isn't it?
yeah, no, because you need to meet. Say hello to Mahant Rishiraj Giri. He is the priest of the Kaila Devi temple, 25 kilometers away from Sambhal city. He is a petitioner in the Shahi Jama Masjid case. Giri claims that everyone around Sambhal knows that there was a mandir on the location. As you can see in this video by News Laundry, the guy has many photos with Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. He even produced a map to show that there was a mandir there. When asked where he got it from, he said, everyone in Sambhal has this map. Basically, trust me bro. I'll leave a link to the video below. You can watch it yourself. Okay, trigger warning. It's kind of heartbreaking and disturbing because the reporter goes and talks to a lot of victims. Just giving you a warning. Okay, now let's move on to the lawyers who have filed this petition. Father-son duo Hari Shankar and Vishnu Shankar Jain. Hari Shankar has been involved in multiple cases like the one in Sambhal, including Gyanvapi dispute, Qutub Minar ke niche kya hai dekho, Taj Mahal ke niche kya hai dekho, and Mathura Krishna Janmabhoomi case as well. His son Vishnu Shankar is the lawyer for the Ajmer Dargah case in Rajasthan and worked with his father on the Ayodhya case as well. Basically, these two do this for a living at this point of time. They file cases in courts to uncover mandirs from underneath mosques. And make no mistake, they specifically target Muslim structures and start these disputes. It's not like they're looking for temples controlled by Brahmins, which used to be places of worship for OBCs or tribals maybe 100 years ago. I'm sure there are a lot of those there. all across the country, but Hari and Vishnu are not interested in those. Anyway, Vishnu Shankar Jain was seen at the mosque in Sambal with a survey team, followed by a crowd chanting Jai Shri Ram. I did the big mistake of going to his Instagram page and found posts like this: Mandir Mukt Masiha, or what? The liberator of mandirs. Oh, it's muted. What is the song?
पूरी ताकत से बोलिए जय श्री राम।
Okay, sorry for unmuting. Here he is saying that Taj Mahal is actually Tejo Mahal hai.
है फर्जी नैरेटिव है। ताजमहल शाहजहां से पहले एग्जिस्ट करता था। राजा जय सिंह से शाहजहां ने इसको एक्सचेंज में लिया। ये एक शिवालय था, तेजो महल है, जिसमें अलग अलग यहाँ पे जो शिवलिंग है उसको रखने का स्थान था।
Moving on, here is his dad Hari Shankar at the Vaishvik Hindu Rashtra Mahotsav, asking for the establishment of an Akhanda Hindu Rashtra.
और सबसे मुख्य मुद्दा ये हुआ कि हमें हिंदू राष्ट्र पाना है, कैसे पाना है और क्या क्या प्रयत्न करने हैं। मैं सभी बंधुओं से अपेक्षा करता हूँ और प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि जहाँ कहीं भी हो ऑनलाइन जुड़े, इस कार्यक्रम में भाग लें, ताकि हम हिंदू राष्ट्र की प्रेरणा को और हिंदू राष्ट्र की स्थापना के संकल्प को जल्दी जल्दी पूरा कर सकें। जय हिंद।
These are the people who are making an organized effort to file cases in courts and order these surveys done in multiple locations. And from the looks of it, they aren't going to stop. It's quite clear that these people don't want to do these surveys because they are curious history buffs who want to expand their understanding of Indian social structures and the universe. No, this is not an academic exercise. They just want to wage war against existing places of worship, namely mosques, and instigate people enough to reclaim them. The survey is an excuse to gather a mob behind them and do some good old slogan shouting in front of mosques, spread fear in these areas, and terrorize the population that lives there. Political parties like BJP can then swoop in, take advantage of this divided population, stoke their fears, do religious polarization, and get some sweet votes. It's the circle of political life at this point of time. I want to make one thing clear. People like these Jains are getting these surveys done because they are trying to distort history to suit a certain narrative, a Hindutva narrative. These instigators clearly don't care about the POW Act or what it says, and Justice Chandrachud's oral observations bolstered these people to act on it. In all of this, we have to ask some very important questions. Let's say we believe these instigators and say that there was some temple structure in all these places. Let's assume the surveys say that also. What then? Matlab, everyone will just accept it and move on. They will just come and say, "Ha, temple hua karta tha. Good to know. Is that what will happen? Or will the demand then escalate to demolition and restoration? Then consecration by the Prime Minister. Another thing, how far back in time do we go? Should we just do what Mahant Giri says and go back to the beginning of the universe when Vishwakarma built that building? Were there mandirs that were spawned directly out of the Big Bang? I mean, as a phata, as a mandir nikla, and then is there a mandir on Mars? Should we go looking for them? How far back in history do we go to right the wrongs of the past? Do these people even understand what history is? I know this can go very deep. This rabbit hole is very deep and it can get quite ridiculous. On that, I have a bunch of thoughts. Let's talk about history a little bit. What does it mean? Simply put, it is a series of past events connected to a person or a thing. In this case, it is a place. The way these events are connected are by using a narrative, by telling a story. The job of a historian is to piece together different events by digging into them. Find old documents, carvings on old walls, analyze designs and symbols of the past, then try to make sense of everything. It is an interpretation of what went down during that time. Then it is strung together into a narrative which would help people understand what happened thousands or hundreds or millions of years ago. History, my dear friends, is not static. And the places where historical events happen are also not static. For instance, think about your childhood home. The home you grew up in, before moving out into a different town or a country. When you go back to visit your childhood home, is it the same? Are the buildings around it the same as they were 10 years ago? I don't think they are. The owners will change, buildings will be destroyed and rebuilt, trees will be cut down, roads will be widened, new shops will pop up, old people will die, new kids will be born, younger kids will grow up, possession will change, cross-country migration might have changed the demographic of the area, making it very unrecognizable. So many things can change in a decade. Go back 50 years and that would be even more different. I mean, your childhood home might not even exist back then. Now go back 500 years. What was happening then? Who lived on that land? Was it used for agriculture? Did a famous poet live there? Did a religious leader live there? Did some great personality of that time live there? Was there a religious building on that land? It's an interesting question to ask. And I think it's worth finding out, to be honest. But only if that question is driven by curiosity. Think about it. What if you find out that the place where your parents live right now had a temple on it 1,000 years ago? Maybe there was a tribe roaming around which put like a rock under a tree and started worshipping it. And now the descendants of those people are like,
Arey, yahan pe we have heard there was a temple under this which our ancestors 1,000 years ago had worshipped. They did their things there.
if you do a survey and dig deep and find remains of something like that, would you want your parents to move out and restore that home into a temple? No, you won't. That's ridiculous. It's just plain stupid because your parents are alive today and living here right now. The people who worshipped that temple like 1,000 years ago are dead and they're gone. It's that simple. And the people who are coming there and saying, "Arey, iske niche mandir tha," have only heard from somewhere in some place it was written there was a mandir there, and then they showed up to do a survey. You'd be like,
चल निकल यहाँ से, हट, तेरा फावड़ा अंदर रख.
you see, history is built on top of other history. It's stacked. The events that unfold in a particular place are a product of the times. It's great to understand what happened in a particular place 1,000 years ago, but it does not mean that you need to restore it back to how it was 1,000 years ago. That just makes zero sense to me. It would make zero sense to any rational human being. So why are these petitioners spending so much time and energy to do this? Just wanted to underline it again. These petitioners, these instigators who are running rampant asking for surveys are doing it as the first step towards destruction and then restoration and then of course consecration by Supreme Leader. I mean, we do have a live example of that in the Ram Temple of Ayodhya. The petitioners in that case got what they wanted, even if it was 27 years later. So why not replicate it and start the process in other places as well right now? Start with the survey, build a movement around it, then gather a mob to destroy the structure, let there be a violent fallout, and then decades later, new building. Oh yeah, and let's take political benefits out of it. Votes, wo bhi mil jayega. This survey business is not just an idea at this point of time. It is turning into a blueprint. It is turning into a plan. The only law that prevents this plan from happening is the Places of Worship Act. But that is now being creatively interpreted because the Supreme Court is not interested in actually interpreting it and saying ki भैया बंद करो, नहीं है allowed ये. All thanks to Justice Chandrachud and his oral observations. I have no hesitation in saying this. The judiciary has shamelessly opened its doors to entertain this nonsense, and we are all going to pay the price for it. Expect more destruction, death, and mayhem in the future if this continues. Who knows? Maybe they'll find a temple under your parents' home after all, and then they will be homeless. Best of luck. And see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, friends. I am doing a live show in Gurgaon and Delhi this weekend, which is on the 7th and 8th of December at 6 p.m. It is a show where I teach 8th grade civics to adults in the form of a stand-up comedy set. If you want to see me live, if you want to come say hi to me, then please do come in these places. It is a fun 1 hour 20-minute show, and I am sure you will enjoy it and you will go back with an existential crisis a little bit. But it's still fun. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, तो आ जाओ. थोड़ा सा टॉर्चर करना है खुद को तो आ जाओ. No, it's really fun. आ जाओ. See you.